So, Captain Lightheart returns as you guys are pilfering through his basement, and he sees the Tanwak and Krayley still sitting there at the table as the other two come and hop over the countertop or the cabinets that conceal the little hidden stairway, and he says, well, I know none of you really know each other, but I was fortunate enough to meet you all in my own way yesterday. I know you all each have your own circumstance. He turns to you, Bernard, and he says, actually, out of everyone, I think I know the most about you. I do happen to know some about your family, and as far as I understand, you are actually here to answer the call to the indentured servitude, I suppose, that the Raven Guard has enlisted as one of his new edicts over the city, into the Flaming Fist. Is that correct?
Yeah, you could definitely say that. It's not the most willing of circumstances.
Well, let me ask you then, because this is going to go for each of you. I wouldn't want you to feel like you are required to not only serve the Fist, or participate in anything that you were unwilling to. At the end of the day, I can make this service for you go away. However, I'm hoping that perhaps you don't have anything better to do, and you might wish to see Baldur's Gate change for the better. How do you feel about this call to serve in the Flaming Fist, Bernard?
I understand it. I understand why he does it. It's just unfortunate that it's being used as a weapon by the rest of my family against me, and so I actually support him in a weird sense.
He says, he actually says, I'll speak quite plainly. I know some of the things that go on in the Fist behind the scenes, and I do know that your father paid the Fist to change the name on the ticket that was pulled from your sisters to yours.
It's the only good thing he's done in years, to be fair. But I'll use this opportunity against him. I might as well. The less power the nobles have on the guard, the less power they'll have everywhere else. So whatever you think, because I think I understand where you're going to be coming from as well. You support this new order, so you have my back, and you have my family's name as much as they like to reject me for it.
Well, I will continue to speak plainly with you. I also know that your family does benefit a great deal from some of the corruption that still bleeds throughout the city. Now, from how you speak about them, it doesn't sound to me as though you necessarily agree with how your family is acquired with some of their fortune, or at least you don't enjoy how you're treated by them.
You're correct on both of those statements.
Can I... maybe I will save that question for private. He says, well, I can tell you this. If you choose to serve in the Fist, it will be under my guidance. And it will be under the vision that older Raven Guard has for the city. Now, it might result, if we're successful, in your family befalling a direct impact And,
Anything to hurt that bastard is fine with me.
well, then what I can offer you is a safe and warm place to stay while you serve. I can offer you words of wisdom, perhaps when you need it. I can offer you a fair pay, and he takes out he's got like a satchel that he's been carrying around with him while he is like out doing his duty, and he pulls out like a sack of coins out of it. You can hear some jangling, and not quite big enough to fit in his pocket. Tosses across a 50 gold signing bonus. Ulder pays, well,
As much as I appreciate all of it, the only thing I only want two things: to make sure my father hurts, and to make sure my siblings are safe from any of the repercussions of this.
he says,
If you can guarantee those two things, you have your blade.
he says, your family will be hurt indirectly from us cleaning up the streets of the city. I can't promise you that I can help you harm your family directly, or that I have any interest in that. But I can promise you that your father's business endeavors will suffer because of our actions. And although that we are going to be doing good things, people will get hurt eventually. But hopefully it's people that deserve it.
Well, that's our job, right? To make sure it is.
He says, well then, do you offer your hand in service to the Flaming Fist under my guidance of your own accord?
Yes, I do.
He says, by Lathander's light, and he holds out his hand.
I shake it.
And he turns to you, Tonwalk, and he says, now, my friend from across the seas, you had a rough first go. How's your head? First day in Baldur's Gate didn't treat you very well. That bump doesn't look too good. And you've got like a big knot on the side of your head.
I think I'm mostly fine. The swelling will go away, but I'm not in any real pain.
He says, it's close quarters here, and I don't know how the others are going to react to my offers, but I have a feeling if you all choose to stay, we're going to get to know each other quite well over the course of our service together. Do you mind telling us why you came here to the city? It was a long travel that you made.
Well, it's a long story, but I'll try to keep it simple. It's a little personal. Okay, no, out of character. I'm actually trying to think how I'm supposed to sum up that thing I sent you yesterday.
I didn't. I didn't get a chance to even read it yet, so you don't have to.
I know, not word for word.
You don't have to go. You don't have to go. You can like reveal as much or as little as you want. You know.
Oh, no, it's just
I think
trying to put it into shorter words.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think at the moment, Captain Lightheart is just kind of trying to get everyone to open up a little bit, and he's looking for ways he can use to, convince you to help him in his cause.
All right,
but you know,
I will.
Yeah, you can just reveal whatever.
Yeah. I'll just say it out of character, since right now I don't know how I'll put it in character, but I'll explain to him that through a sort of, what is it? Not a vision, but it's sort of like a, like, you know, the psychic people have I don't know. Just think that's the Raven. Anyways, I'm not saying he's psychic, but I'm saying that during an eclipse, I had a vision that shown me a potential future of destruction and despair, and that revelation is kind of what spurred me on to go across the sea. But not only that, it also provides a good excuse to try to find someone that was once close to me, that happened to also travel to Baldur's Gate a few years prior.
Well, could you tell me anything of them? Perhaps I can...
look
into their whereabouts for you.
Well, he's a Mustecan, as am I, except he's not metallic colored. He's taller, he's stronger. I would say probably better looking than I am. But in all seriousness, his name is Tangashoan, and he's a potter by trade. Let's just say I'm looking for him.
Well, I can keep my eyes and ears open. There are plenty of nooks around the city where craftsmen tend to congregate. As for your visions, I did see you sketching out the symbols in the parchment that I loaned you. You know, here on the other side of the seas, our gods might differ from yours, but they have been known from time to time to bless mortals with visions. So I'm perfectly willing to accept that the gods you believe in sent you across the sea for some important reason, some greater good, perhaps. I can tell you that, although I, haven't seen your visions, there's something beyond corruption amongst the Fist in the city, something beyond the nobles using their powers to exploit those lesser, whereas those that they see as lesser than them in the city. That has been going on for as long as Baldur's Gate has been around. Before these walls were erected, before these buildings were stacked up on top of each other. No, something darker is brewing here. Symbols have been appearing all around the city of dark gods, evil gods. Murders and crime have been increasing. Every night it gets worse. Even as of late, there have been attacks in the streets in broad daylight. Robed figures murdering innocent people in broad day.
I shake my head at that. I don't say anything, but I just shake my head.
I don't know if this relates to your vision, but there is a darkness being cast over Baldur's Gate. And,
it might not, but we won't know unless we investigate.
So, that's something you'd be interested in?
Well, I must admit, my allegiance lies only to my gods and to my family. But I would be willing to work alongside the Flaming Fist, as our fates seem destined to collide regardless. This seems like an interesting lead.
Well, I can offer you the same as everyone else, so warm meals, a safe place to sleep at night, and of course offer you the same pay. What do you say?
Sure. I can work with the Flaming Fists, probably as a liaison or attaché. Maybe having me slightly outside of the organization's purview might allow for some under the book, behind the books, under the books. Oh, whatever you Baldurians say. Off the record. There we go. I think that's what you guys. I think that's what you people say.
You
Yes,
people. As the horned one here, I'm offended.
He says, I like the way you think, Tanawak, and I won't ask you to don the uniform of the fist if you don't wish to. But still, the rest of my offer stands. And he pulls out another bag of coins. He gives you 50 gold. And he holds out his hand and he says, well, by Lathander's light, perhaps we can find the darkness you seek together. And he holds out his hand.
I reach out and I take it. I'll be interested in working alongside him. Whether this turns out to be what I'm looking for or not, I'll still help.
And maybe we'll find your friend as well. He turns to you, Sylvie, and he gives you a big warm smile. And he says, when we bumped into each other yesterday, he said you'd been alone for a long time. How do you feel now? I know we're all strangers here, but how did it feel to have a warm night's sleep and a nice meal and the company of some fresh faces?
Very bizarre. Definitely not something I've felt in a really long time.
What are you here for in Baldur's Gate, Sylvia? Are you from the city, or are you just a traveler passing through?
Yeah, I grew up here as a kid. Well, kind of. I mean, I was born and raised here, and then I was raised on the street. But, you know, what happens sometimes.
He says, when we bumped into each other yesterday, you were in quite a rush. I'm surprised I could even talk you into slowing down for a moment. And are you running from something?
Aren't we all?
He kind of looks somber for a moment. His eyes kind of glaze over a little bit, actually. And he just shakes himself out of it, and he says, I don't know, I suppose that could be true. I hate to be presumptuous, but to me it almost sounds like you're at the end of your ropes, almost as if you have nothing to lose. And I've been there before. I know quite well what that feels like. But look at me now. And he gives you another big smile. I know in the darkest times of our lives, when it all feels like nothing matters anymore, what we could really use is some purpose, maybe even a helping hand. If you have nothing better to do, at least you could earn a little coin.
Doesn't seem like a bad idea.
What were you planning on doing next? Say if you just walked away here for, when we parted ways.
I guess what I always do, just keep hunting down the same person I've been running towards. And running from, I guess, depending on how you look at it.
Is this person you're seeking here in the city now?
I would hope she still is, but it's hard to tell. I've lost track of her.
Well, maybe it's time you stopped running, at least for a little while. You seem capable. You look like you could probably handle a blade. And, you are from Baldur's Gate. We could use people in the Fist that are kind of a clean slate. It almost seems like that's what you are to me.
Sure, why not?
You don't seem like the religious type, but you know I gotta do it. By Lathander's light, then. And he holds out his hand.
She shakes it, and she turns to him and she goes, I'm religious, but I don't believe in Faerunian gods. I believe in elven gods.
The rest of us hear that?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's check it.
Anyone in particular?
Yeah, actually, Stahina, and both the goddess of, death, moon, kind of at the head as actually, divination, streams, travel, kind of the goddess of it all, it feels like.
I don't know much about the elven gods, but if they're anything like the Faerunian ones, it is belief in them that keeps them alive. And maybe here in serving others for a while, you'll reestablish that connection with your elven heritage.
I hope so.
And he hands you a bag of 50 gold coins. And he says, and we're going to need someone in tune with the night.
I put my hood up. Back to my chair.
He turns to you, Kralie, and he says, I'm sorry for what happened last evening. If I could have been there to change it, I would have been. I would have dropped everything. And I don't have much, but I would have given it all just to be within eye's reach. I knew your mother quite well, and I considered her one of my closest friends, actually. And I know that you and I have never met, but as I spoke to you in your garden last night, I would wish to dedicate myself to avenging her death and bringing justice to all those that were there last night and participated in that vile act that happened to you and your family. What I want is to stop things like that from happening ever again. The things that have been happening in Baldur's Gate for too long. And I know that it is still fresh in your heart and your mind, but I'm hoping that you might see in Baldur's Gate what I see. What your mother saw at one time, before she left the Fist. Before Older came and started setting things right. Clearly, of all of these others, I would imagine that this would be one of the most personal things for you. And I would also understand if you want no part of it. I can only imagine the sadness that's currently inside of you, but I know that that sadness will eventually turn to anger, and you will have to have somewhere for that anger to be channeled. And if you can channel it into doing good for the city, then we will all be better for it.
Sorry. It is a lot for me right now. And you, probably better than anybody here, would know that I really do not trust the Flaming Fists. But my mom, who meant so much to me, trusted you. And so in the end, I'm willing to trust you in terms of trying to bring about this change and stopping the things that happened to her from happening to someone else. During this, I do want to rip out a page from her journal. And I want it to be that page that she drew a picture of him.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to fold it up, and then I'm assuming at some point he'll want to do the handshake thing. And during that, I will have the paper in my hand and kind of pass it on to him during that handshake. And just say that I am trusting you over trusting anything the Flaming Fists would do.
He says, I've made 2 vows in my life, and the first one I made in a dark time, but I made a vow to Lathander that I would spend the rest of my days bringing light into the world. I made a second vow to Older Ravengard in bringing peace to Baldur's Gate. And today, I will make a third vow to you. I vow that we will bring justice and get revenge for your mother Samantha together.
I tear up a little bit. And I just hug him.
He actually kind of puts both arms around you, and he places his hand on the back of your head, and he says, he just kind of says very quietly to you, by Lathander's light. And he says, well, now that we've all gotten on the same page, I have another meeting that I have to attend to. I actually have quite a busy morning. But I would like you all to do something for me. And since you've already discovered my little secret, he pulls another key out of his jangly pocket, and he sets it on the table. This one is a silver key unlike the bronze ones that he's given all of you for your rooms. And he says, in one of those trunks downstairs, there are some cloaks. They bear the new symbol of the fist, the one that Raven God is trying to bear among the city. They're slightly different than the symbol that the fist has now. The fist, and this is kind of one of the ways that we're starting to differentiate ourselves from those that are still in the pockets of the criminals and the nobles. The original sigil of the Flaming Fist is a closed fist surrounded by fire. The new symbol of the fist is an open hand, the sigil of Torm, still surrounded by flame. The hand of justice that we're going to bring to Baldur's Gate. There are cloaks downstairs for you all. There are a few down there that are a little different. For those of you that don't wish to bear the sigil of the fist, that's fine. They are more like Baldurian cloaks. They just have the symbol of Baldur's Gate upon them. Go down there and select one that fits for yourselves, if you'd like. And I'll be back in another few hours. He leaves. You guys head down and pop that trunk open, and there's like a selection of cloaks all neatly folded, but these are all special cloaks. They have a magical property to them. No matter which cloak you choose, they all allow you to cast a cantrip of your choice, a utility cantrip of your choice. They're cantrip cloaks. So you guys can decide which cantrip you want for your cloaks, and we will head over to if the cloak that you choose has like a DC to it, although I don't know if any of the utility ones necessarily do, then it'll just be a DC 14 whenever you use it on something that requires it. But I think all the utility abilities, I don't really think any utility cantrips have. Nothing that does damage. No cantrips that do damage. All utility cantrips only. We'll go over to Dolos.
Oh no.
Maybe I'll give me a sec. That's a little too much.
Good things to come.
Well, we're gonna move into the action portion of the Dungeons and Dragons now, finally.
Yo, that's wild.
Yeah, we'll just go with that. Dolos.
Yes.
What feels like an eternity goes by. You are locked, every inch of your body locked in place by Older Ravenguard's Hold Person spell. But really, only about a minute goes by. It just feels like forever. And finally, the spell wears off. You actually, maybe like 10 seconds before the spell wears off, you actually hear some like shouting off in the distance in the high halls. They kind of like echo down the halls towards your room, and then you hear like the clanging of metal armor, and but it's like moving away from you. It's not coming towards the door. And then 10 seconds later, the Hold Person wears off, and you hear like the sound of, there's like your forehead's now beaded with sweat, then you hear like the sound of swords clashing, like there's a fight going on somewhere down the hall off in the distance. What would you like to do?
Oh, I would love to look through the little keyhole. I want to see what's going on. I'm going to be nosy. Is it safe? No. Am I going to do it? Of course.
Make a perception check.
Okay.
You kneel down and look through the little keyhole, and you can see this long hall that stretches kind of as far as your eye can see, and along it are like you can kind of see the peripheries through this little keyhole that you're peering through, and on either side you can kind of see like the ends of marble pillars sticking out, and down at the far end of the hall it almost looks like there's like a set of stairs that begins to wind down and around, and you see a couple of armored guards at the top of the stairs. They have their swords drawn and they're like battling with seems like something that's coming up the stairs. Neither of them appears to be older, which you would probably recognize from his helmet, and the rest of his. He looks quite a bit different than just some of the plain guards in the high hall. But
Yeah.
then you see like the guards kind of press their attack down, and you just hear the clanging of swords, and you can kind of see their shadows go down around the corner and disappear as the clashing of swords is still sounding.
Would you? Oh.
No, go ahead.
On my way up to these chambers, would I have seen any like servants or attendants? Would I have been able to get like a good look of any of them?
As you moved through the high halls, like the actually I think I might even have like a little.
Ooh.
Is the page just blank, dark for you guys?
It's just black.
Okay, let me just turn this off.
Ooh.
So you would have came through those main gates there, and you would have been walked through the courtyard into like this back building here. And there would have been a set of stairs that wound up near the back of it, up into this long corridor up in the far back side. And essentially you are like in one of these top two rooms here. They just have no windows on them.
Okay.
I guess it's probably this third one down that's flush with the hall. And there's no there's no windows, and then you're peering down that long hallway, and then there's a set of stairs down at this end where the guards are fighting, and they seem to be pushing someone back who also has swords back down into the main building that you would have come through. Now down in that main building there would have been like it was kind of like a larger meeting hall, sort of a replica of the room that you're currently in, just much bigger, with a very tall ceiling that could seat like an audience of maybe 30 around a large table.
Okay. You never answered my question though.
What was that?
If I had seen any like attendants or butlers or
in the hall, no.
Anyone of just servant work.
In the halls, no longer. Not in the halls up there.
As I was traveling through, okay, no one.
Down in the main room where the fighting is going towards, there were, but once you came up into the long hall that led to the room that you're in, it was just empty hallway.
Yeah. But would you say that I would have got a good enough of a look to disguise self as that figure?
Yeah, sure.
Wonderful. And I'm assuming the door is unlocked.
No.
Oh damn.
Oh, they're locked it behind him. You heard the lock turn. You heard the lock click.
I did.
Yes,
I did.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks. I don't know if I can pick it.
You can try and pick it, and you also have your emergency escape object still.
I will try to pick it. I want to get more information.
Sure.
What sort of check would that be? Sleight of hand?
Sleight of hand. Do you have? Well, first of all, does your character have thieves' tools?
Oh, no, I have a forgery kit.
Then I would say you could try and pick the lock with a pen from your forgery kit, but it's going to be a very high DC.
I mean, that's the option. Sleight of hand. Let's see if I roll well.
So the DC was going to be a 25, so you would have had to essentially nat 20 it.
Well, I didn't get enough.
You got close though. You pull out like the quill from your forgery kit, and you kind of it's the quill itself is made of this hardwood, and you split it into a couple splintered pieces, and you take one end and you start to kind of like fiddle around in the lock, but this isn't something that like you're necessarily used to doing a lot of the time, and eventually you just apply too much pressure and the tip of your quill snaps off inside of the lock, and it's kind of like now you can't even look through the hole.
Damn. Well, shit. I guess time is up. And I'll say blueberry.
So you're holding the little object in your hand. You say the words blueberry, and your body is torn from the high halls. But instantaneously, as you finish saying blueberry, there is like an excruciating pain that runs through your entire body, and you appear in Thirstwell's laboratory, like laying flat on the stone, and you're like writhing in pain. Thirstwell runs over and he goes, "Are you okay? Dolos, what happened?"
No. Where is everybody?
He says, don't move. Something's wrong. I have to check you out. It wasn't supposed to happen like this.
Yeah,
and,
something is very wrong.
And
I'm very hurt.
And he like takes out a couple arcane instruments, and he begins to kind of like, he actually like goes off to the side of you, and he starts like measuring some of the spaces between like the sigils and runes on the teleportation circle itself, and he's the pain is sort of like still pulsing through your body, but you manage enough energy to like stand.
Yeah.
And when you stand kind of across on the other side of the room, over kind of near where like the little sitting area is, there's like a large mirror where sometimes you would practice your form shifting, and you can see yourself, and you can tell that your cardiovascular system is like, it's all turned like a dark purple color. So you can see like all your veins in your face, your pale white skin, they're like really accentuated by, and all your veins in your face are like pulsing and sticking out, and they're running down your neck and down your arms, and it's like almost like all of your veins have been pushed to the surface, just under the surface of your skin or something. And
something's very wrong.
He says, you hear Thirstwell kind of in a panicked voice now behind you. "Oh no, oh no, oh no, I did it all wrong." And he's like starting to like hyperventilate, and he says,
okay, that's a little crazy here.
He says, I don't know if you heard it, but that made a terrible sound when you appeared. It was like the fabric of the weave was ripped in two. You have to get out of here. Amric is going to be on his way.
I know. Something very wrong has happened. Older knows. They're looking for the real Thaddeus.
Um, he says, well, that isn't good to hear either. I found out it's true. He wasn't kidding. His mother's going to let him kill you if you failed.
Oh, Lord.
But he must have heard. He must have heard that sound. It was like thunder, and you can see like all of there's like broken glass around his table. Like some of his stuff's kind of fallen off and shattered. Books have kind of fallen off the shelves. Like the whole whatever magic failed kind of ripped apart his laboratory a little bit. And he's telling you it's made a horrible noise. And he's kind of like shouting too, like maybe his ears are ringing or something, you know? He says, I know Amric must have heard the sound. He's going to be on his way. You have to leave as quickly as possible.
I just need to get my mask.
He says, you don't look well. I would put it on. And,
Yeah, that's the plan.
and then he says, I'll let you out the secret way. And,
Thank you.
he, goes over and, like, pushes one of the big, heavy-backed chairs, pulls the rug out from under it and opens a wooden trap door. And you've been through this before, and so you know it leads out into the streets of the upper city. And what do you do? Do you do or say anything before you leave to Thirstwell?
Oh, I give him a hug, and I'm just like, I'm sorry. I'll probably have to go into hiding for a while,
He says,
but it will be okay.
you mustn't come back here, but I'll find a way to contact you. And then you hear boom, 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 Mortlock banging on your on the door.
Close this behind me.
You hear like the scraping of the chair going back into place, and you kind of hear Thirstwell's muffled voice, "Coming!" And you find yourself in a dark tunnel below the Van Thamper Estates.
And I am going towards the other exit.
As you make your way out, for the rest of you, a little bit of time has gone by. It's now kind of getting towards the mid to late afternoon, and Captain Lightheart hasn't come back to the barracks yet. Just out of curiosity, what cantrips did you guys choose for your cloaks?
I chose Gus.
Nice.
Guidance.
Ooh.
I'm still looking.
I'll go with Mold Earth.
Nice. So you guys are like hanging out around the barracks, and then the rest of you begin to hear screams outside in the streets. You hear some kind of you hear the sound of like a maybe like a barrel or a crate or something blasting apart, and you hear shouting and screaming, and people kind of running like away from the barracks. Like the sounds are moving away, but the shouting and some of the other shouting, you begin to hear, "Don't let that one get away!" And you can kind of hear like angry voices and the sounds of now like screaming and maybe a bit of fighting. What would you all like to do?
I put the new cloak on, put the hood up, grab my bow, and run out the door.
Not even a sense to speak to us about it. As I guess follow her through.
Okay,
I
I
set
see
my
them
cloak
running
aside for right now. Yeah, I follow Crowley.
Yep.
Oh no! The people have been harmed.
Dolos, you head out into the streets of the upper city. And you know that the nearest gate to the Vamanther Manor is the Manor Gate. You're actually their estates are actually fairly close to like the Temple District, and you make your way through the Manor Gate, and as you're heading that way, you begin to hear like shouting and screaming in the streets, and you hear the sound of this barrel break apart, and then you hear like the sound of angry voices, like, and cut that one down, paint these streets in blood, shit like that. And now it's like ahead of you, you can see some black-robed figures coming up the thoroughfare towards you, and the shouting around the corner as well, screaming of people being stricken down by magic and swords. And so you can't go back towards the upper city, and now in front of you there are these what seem to be dark-figured people just now openly moving through the streets in these two groups, killing anyone within arm's length, just in open plain sight in now what is the late afternoon of the day. You can see that like people are running for cover, getting as far away as they can as quickly as possible, but you see like a younger woman kind of get like trapped between the two groups, and then one of the cultists like drives this long curved blade just right into her chest, and she falls like into a slump. You see behind one of the two groups like a figure in some tight red robes, like now conjuring a ball of energy ready to throw in their hand, and then the rest of you like begin to pour out. You look to pour out of the barracks, and you look to your right, and there's this like figure running down the thoroughfare in robes and a mask that looks kind of frightening. And these other two groups of robed, dark-clad individuals now just like openly killing people in the streets. I would like you all to select your tokens and roll initiative.
Man-filth.
Man-filth?
Yeah.
Sorry, my computer isn't cooperating.
No worries.
Oh no, I saw you. I was like, whoa, she feels like a hell of power over there.
Damn. She's really waiting for me.
You heard there was soup.
God damn it.
You guys all kind of pour out of the barracks one after another. You guys can put your tokens anywhere within 5 feet of the outside of the barracks. You can hear like the latent ambient sounds of the city as people are like running off looking for cover, as what seems like these two groups of cultists are moving up through the streets. You can see that they've put several innocent commoners down already, and on the cobblestones as they're just cutting swaths as the streets kind of converge in this intersection just outside of the barracks that you guys are in. Another figure is running down the street from the opposite direction of the cultists, but it's kind of hard to tell if he's with them or not. They have a kind of similar currently kind of dressed a bit similarly. I rolled pretty well for cultist initiative.
Sylvie was the first one up, but she's one of the last ones to go.
It's unlocked.
Did you roll higher than a 10 at first?
No.
Oh, here, let me reset the order.
He's just having a brain fart.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Or Vietnam flashback.
Both are pretty fair.
Yeah.
You see that some of the robed figures, they have hoods up, and they all seem to have these sort of similarly forged long, well, not quite as long as a longsword, but not quite as short as a dagger, but they're like these curved blades. And a couple of their swords are already dripping in blood. As they see you pouring out of the barracks, they all sort of begin to converge on you, as now the streets are kind of growing, getting kind of empty of innocence, and so they start moving in your direction.
All right.
As they rush forward with their dark cloaks kind of billowing behind them, Tanwak, you're up.
Oh, it's my turn already? I thought there's two people in front of me. Oh, there you go. Just haven't switched to me. Let's see. I'm gonna go to my spells list since I am not a melee fighter. And before anything happens, I'm going to cast Mage Armor on myself just in case. I don't know if that's showing up in the chat for you as well.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a brief shimmer of magic as you're encased in some armor for yourself, and you kind of, I don't know, what's Tanwak's magic look like?
Oh, let's see. I actually have the Mystica Pantheon thing. I could just look up Ishna magic. Very long distance pressure. Okay, that does not explain to me what it looks like. Oh no, Pluma magic, sorry. You could say it looks like, I don't want to say feathers. But, I mean, I guess, yeah. Like little bird motifs.
One of the robed figures.
Oh yeah, I also take cover behind Bernard.
Nice. One of the robed figures behind moves forwards. They don't seem to have any weapons in their hands. They begin to make a few gestures and motion, and they begin to chant in some other language than Common. If anyone knows Draconic, you might recognize it. But then they point with their open palm and then like point a finger at you. There, Sylvie. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw for me.
Okay. Oh boy. I'm not proficient in wisdom.
So you feel your body tense up as they cast Hold Person on you.
Oh god.
And as you're kind of ready there for action, just every muscle in your body tenses, and you feel yourself even unable to even drag 1 foot forward. I believe you can make the save again at the end of your turn to get out of it. And Krayley, you're up.
Okay. So this is where I will ask for some assistance. I cannot remember the button here to. I just want to like drag and see how far I can move.
Oh, yeah, it's like the little ruler. It's underneath the, yeah. My icons are a little different than your guys's because of I'm the DM or whatever, so I have a few extra ones, but...
So
Yeah.
I am going to move 3 feet this way. And then I guess at this point I'm just going to attack the closest masked figure to me. With my bow, which is going to be this guy here. Is that pink?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just make sure.
And out of curiosity, you did say that you had shown up not wearing your armor, correct?
Yes, correct. So
Okay.
I'm just in some regular old clothing.
What does that make your AC at the moment?
Let me double check.
I guess what's your dex modifier?
My dex modifier is 3 plus 3.
Okay.
But I can double check that here. Okay. But yes, I'm going to attack the pink masked figure closest to me with my longbow. Character sheet. Okay. Here is my attack.
Yeah, 14 definitely hits for 5 piercing damage. You draw an arrow to your bow and let it go quite smoothly. It strikes the cultist in his like upper thigh, and he almost stumbles forward. He like kind of drops down to one knee, and he like lifts his head up and looks at you with like a malice in his eyes for 5 damage. And is there anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
For now, that is it.
You, from the far back, there's one of the members of this group is now kind of like nonchalantly moving forward. He's got a ball of kind of bluish purple energy in one hand. You hear him yell out to the rest of you, "Oh, look what we have here. A few with a backbone, is it? Well, once we're done with you, we'll make sure to rip out your spines and dedicate your souls in the name of the Lord of Murder, Bhaal." And he throws a magic missile at you, who's now held person and the closest one to him there, Krayley. So he's going to do a couple... because you're held person, it doesn't really make any difference, but you're going to get magic missiled for 3 bolts. You take 10 magical damage as these little balls of energy fly towards you, all kind of striking you held in place. It's kind of terrifying because you can't even try to dodge, and you just feel the heat of the magic strike your body, leaving kind of little scorch marks on your clothing as you absorb the blows, unable to move momentarily. But you can make a wisdom save. It's actually a fairly low DC, so it's 11 to be free. DC 11 wisdom saving throw, which you make at the end of your turn, unfortunately. Actually, because you took damage, I'll let you make one at the beginning. Make a wisdom save.
Where is she? I feel like I don't see her on the screen.
Her tokens, like...
Did I lose her?
It's right in front of you, actually.
Alright.
Is it? I need to refresh that.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
snap.
You feel the as these 3 bolts of energy strike you. You feel the force of them kind of knock you out of the hold of the magic of the other person that cast their spell on you originally, and you can just take your turn, act as normal.
Alright. and I'm gonna take an arrow out of my quiver and aim at the little cult wizard guy that put me in the hold person. I'm going after him first.
Okay, yeah. I'll mark him in red.
Oh no, that wasn't good.
Your arrow goes just over his head. He kind of like ducks under it. It hits the little tip of his hood as it flies over. He shouts
Does
at you.
Does it unveil him?
Yeah. The tip of your hood pulls his hood off. You can see he's like gaunt and pale. You can see that he has like a upside down cross carved like with a knife or something into his forehead. It looks like maybe even it's been done quite recently. There's like blood dripping down his nose onto his chin and down onto his robes. Now you can even see like a little bit of sheen on the front of his black cotton robe, like a blood drip down there. He like grins at you with this crooked set of teeth, and he just kind of says, "We're closing in." Would you like to move or anything else?
Yeah, I'm gonna go over here. Next to Crayley.
Dolos, you had been
and then I turn to Crayley and I'm like, is it just me or does that guy look like a vampire?
You might not necessarily recognize them, Bernard, but one of them did just blatantly shout out that they're all going to rip out your spines and sacrifice you to the Lord of Murder Bhaal once this is over. So you can, if you take them at their word, gather that maybe these are cultists of Bhaal. And these are one of those open attacks that Captain Lightheart had been talking about just a few hours ago, as he was persuading you all to help him in the fist.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Dolos. You as you run into this commotion, you see these other figures pour out of this, what you would recognize as a Flaming Fist barracks. You see, like, quickly these two groups of robed, cloaked figures are now, like, converging on this little group that's emerged from one of the guard towers. You only really have two ways to go at the moment: back the way you came, back towards the upper city, or to either get involved in the conflict that's now taking place, or try to, run through it. What would you like to do?
Dolos is thinking on his feet. So, first off, he'll move. I know there's a better way of doing this. But he'll move over there. He'll speak to Bernard. He'll just be like, I work for Order Raven Guard. These guys are trying to kill us. You help me out of here, I'll help you. And then I would love to cast Sleep. I don't exactly know how I can do that.
Yeah, here, I can help you.
So,
Okay, I just know I need to roll 5d8. But I should be able to cast it where I want it. I'm not the best at.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
There's a really cool new measuring tool that's just recently been added. So, creatures within 20 feet of a point you choose. So you kind of want to hit as many people as you can, right?
Yeah, I would be aiming like right here, like mainly like this guy and this guy. Like it would be like in like the center of them.
I would say you could cast it on.
Oh, can I do it there?
Yeah.
Oh, if I can do it, then I'll just do it there. Yeah, okay. I'm just not exactly sure how to roll that.
You could go for those three. You could go a little farther out, and
I think I'll go for those three. I think that's
okay. Yeah,
most
roll
strategic.
roll the HP total.
Okay. How do I do that?
Roll the 5d8. You can either click the sleep spell, which should be like in your what is it like action? There's like a little
Yeah.
in your character
I
sheet,
can just
or you can just roll the 5d8.
To roll to 5D. How would I do that? Is like a
You would
command?
type /R and then spacebar and then 5d8. So it would look like that. There you go. 22 points of HP. 9. Does it? It starts from the lowest HP person.
It starts from the
first,
lowest,
right?
and then
Okay.
goes up.
So the one that's now gotten closest to the group there, he's kind of down on one knee already, glaring up at Krayley, and he just kind of falls forward into a slumber. Then the guy right behind him does the same. You hear his blade clatter to the ground, and he falls to the cobblestones. 22. And actually, the third guy, his blade falls to the ground as well as he falls to the cobbled streets of the city in a nice little slumber. They are all now prone and sleeping heavily from your magic.
How long does sleep last again?
It just makes them unconscious, I believe.
I think it's
Is there a duration?
Is it a concentration? Not concentration.
Oh, it might be.
somebody has to use their action to shake or slap the sleeper awake. Yep.
They get a chance to wake up if they get attacked, right?
Yeah, if they survive.
If they survive.
Because they're helpless technically, so
A
if
melee
you hit them while they're prone, they crit automatically.
Yeah,
right?
a melee attack currently will be an automatic crit against them. Correct.
Yeah. Just don't miss.
Otherwise, one of their companions, if they go early and they choose to do so, could try to wake them up. If they choose to spend their action that way. Bernard.
All right, so Bernard, seeing as those guys down at the bottom are all mostly taken care of, except for that one. This is an enemy down here at the bottom, right?
Down here?
That guy.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
He casts a magic missile.
Okay, he's the one. Okay. Bernard doesn't even pay him any mind. He ignores him. He assumes that the rest of the party will take care of that guy. He is going to cast Shield of Faith on himself for a bonus action, making his AC 20.
Nice.
And then, with a small creeping smile on his face, he runs towards the closest cultist, and with a shout, he will swing. He will swing his glaive down onto this poor man.
Go for it.
Is he poor though? Oh.
As you move forward to one of the cultists and you swing your glaive around, you bring it down with all the force that you have, and you actually just take his sword arm clean off at the shoulder. It falls to the streets, and before he coughs blood and falls dead to the ground out of his mouth, his head turns and looks at his own arm on the ground.
Don't worry, I'll still be there when I'm done. And then he decides to move. Because he was here, right? So it's 5, 10, 15. He still has another 15, 20, 25, 30. And you're next. And he runs over to this guy, getting ready to bash his brains in next turn.
Nice.
And I go, yeah, get him.
And
That's right. In 5th edition, you can attack. You can move, attack, and then move again.
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
and then he's gonna. That's where he will sit.
One of them.
And end my turn.
One of them comes up on the other side of you with their blade and makes an attack against you with your AC 20. And he just you're wearing like a Brett. What kind of armor do you have on?
My armor that I have on. Sorry about that. It would be chainmail.
He moves up a few steps as he sees you hit the first guy and then get up in the face of the other cultist. And I don't know if he saw it at first, but once he gets closer to you, then he like sees the arm of his buddy laying on the ground over there, and he like swings his sword, but it goes just like he's like swings his arm out way too far, and you can like feel his like forearm like hit you in the shoulder.
It's your turn.
And then another one. I don't know if he can make it all the way. Let's see. Yeah, he got it.
Oh, this is fine.
And he'll make an attack as well. As he does so, he sees like his companion miss, and then he goes to swing, and you kind of like turn to face him as the sword's coming at you, and he just like he swings at you with like everything he has, and his blade just strikes like the flat part of your glaive, and it like vibrates so hard in his hand that he drops his sword because he rolled a natural 1.
Nice. I have built this man to do exactly this. Someone cast fireball. I'll be fine.
Sleeping cultist. Sleeping dead cultist. I'll take him off the turn order. Sleeping cultist. Sleeping cultist. Tanwak, you're up.
Hooray! I get to try to kill somebody. I don't get a disadvantage for trying to hit somebody with a ranged attack when they're in melee, right?
No.
How that works.
No.
Okay, good. I was gonna be worried that I was gonna get a -4.
There was
penalty.
there was supposed to be a component of this combat but I forgot to mention it at the beginning, so we'll forget about it. There was going to be like an environmental component because the fog is really thick here, so you would have had a disadvantage and anything outside of 15 feet. But
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we could just see really good.
Yeah.
I'm going to cast Guiding Bolt on this guy.
But there is a heavy layer of fog in all of this as it's going on at the moment, so it's kind of chaotic.
Oh, okay. Well, first I'll move there and then I'll cast it.
Make your attack roll.
Attack roll. Ranged attack roll.
It should just be like in your attacks, where all your attacks are. Yeah, there you go. You said you were going for the spellcaster?
Sure. Spellcaster versus spellcaster.
Yeah. You take a few steps forward. This
Standing next to the severed arm.
Bolt of masculine energy channeled through your gods far across the sea flows through you. It streaks out through the foggy gray mist and hits the other spellcaster. There's this kind of like bright flash of green light as it kind of hits him like just the full force of the magic right in his face. He takes the full 18 radiant damage, and I believe the next person that makes an attack against the same creature will have advantage.
Yes, sir.
Doesn't take him down, though. How
dare you have more hit points than me?
The guy in front of you there, Bernard, who was just hit by the spell, he kind of shakes his head, and then he begins to cast a spell, and a floating weapon made of kind of this dark light appears on the other side of you as he casts a spiritual weapon.
Only you had Mage Slayer.
Don't worry, that's the one I'll pick up soon.
The
I will be an absolute pest. That
Still-
is my goal.
still kind of blinded from the radiant bolt from Tanawak there. The when the spell swings after it appears just behind you, it like swings in the opposite direction because this fellow also rolled a natural 1.
My luck is.
Well, this
I'm
is
gonna
like
miss.
generally like. For whatever reason, I have a history of my first combat of every new campaign. The enemy's always rolling really well, developing this sort of mythos for me and my dice rolls, but that just doesn't seem to be happening this time. So maybe you have Lathander's light kind of watching over you this afternoon here in Baldur's Gate. Krayley, you're up.
Okay, so I have a bit of a dumb question.
Sure.
So for Dolus, we haven't like technically met. So have I seen Dolus like support us in this fight or anything like that?
Being so close, even in the fog, you would have seen him. He mumbled something to Bernard, but then you did see him cast a spell, kind of right in front of you. And after he had done so, you saw 3 of the people that are now you're in conflict with fall to the cobbles.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. I'm going to run about 25 feet away. Right here. And then, with the fog, would I have seen the guiding bolt land on the hooded figure over here, the red guy?
Yeah, I think there's almost like a lingering kind of energy around him, a bit of kind of this kind of faint green light that's still kind of hovering in the midst of the fog, kind of highlighting him, making him much easier to spot out of the rest of the cloaked, robed figures.
Okay, so I would like to. So I went ahead and moved 25 feet that direction, and I will go ahead and attack the glowing figure. And so I guess that it would be
With advantage.
Okay.
Ooh. Another expertly pointed arrow, swiftly drawn, for 5 piercing damage. Bernard, right in front of you there, you suddenly see an arrow shaft appear in the cultist's shoulder, sticking out. Does Krayley like make their own arrows?
So I think I would assume, at least when I came to kind of join one of the barracks, I would have taken some of my mother's arrows. So at least in the base pack, I would have had 20 arrows. So they're just basic arrows that I'm now down to 17 arrows. That works.
You see an arrow strike the cultist in its shoulder, and it's like 4 inches deep now in the cultist, and you just see like the smooth shaft of an arrow with like these perfectly perforated little quail's feathers, tail feathers from Krayley's arrow sticking out of the guy in front of you.
I would like to cast, or not cast, I just would like to take the action search.
Oh, nice. Yeah, go for it.
And then go ahead and attack. Is that green or yellow? The guy kind of right next to the red.
This one? Yeah, green.
Yeah. Green. Okay. I would like to notch another arrow and make an attack on him.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Oop. Sorry, I forgot to take advantage.
That's okay. This 16 still hits.
Yep.
7. Your arrow goes just to the right of his heart, like almost dead center of his chest. You see him like look down, and he like touches it with one hand, and then he like looks back up at you through the fog. And then the evil mage will shoot another magic missile. This one, 3 magical bolts of dark energy, all striking you, Dolos.
Understandable.
You take 10 magical damage, magical force damage, and I think he also will move a bit in this direction so he can get a better look at everyone else. Sylvie.
Okay. Let me see. Then, I'm going to cast Dissonant Whispers at the little demon over there that hit me with his missiles.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Why isn't it going through? It's not wanting to work.
It's okay.
Is it going through?
Let me try.
Oh, cast at what level?
Oh yeah, it's asking you what level. Yeah.
I was so confused.
Wisdom saving throw. What is your spell DC?
I think it's 12. Yeah.
The evil mage just passes the save. Do they still take the damage when they save?
Half?
I think so.
It says on a successful save, yeah.
The target's
Half
half as much.
Half as much. Okay.
Half as much damage and doesn't have to move. Okay, yeah. So it takes 3.
So 3?
Yeah, 3 damage. And you were hoping you could get him to trample his buddy, but he just brings his focus back to you, kind of locking eyes with you as another kind of ball of energy begins to be conjured between both of his hands.
Oh god.
Delos.
Oh, well, I got hurt pretty badly. I think sleep worked really well for me the first time. It has a range of 90. So, do you think I could like pinpoint it like over here, but so like it only affects?
Don't you
These
take
two?
this away from me.
I mean,
It could just be making it easy. It could just be making it easier on
It's fine, do whatever you want. Do whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, you could cast it behind them.
Okay.
Also, one makes himself fall asleep.
You gotta go for the / before the R.
Yep. Just noticed.
So this guy falls into a misty slumber in the cold streets. Unfortunately, that was a pretty low roll, and the oh, you know what? No, yeah, it's 1 HP off. Doesn't quite get the other guy.
It's okay.
Yeah. 3 1s, brutal. Bernard. No, go ahead.
Oh, am I good to like move back?
Yeah,
a
no,
bit?
for sure. Yeah.
That's all I was
yeah.
gonna do.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Do a little bit better.
You've kind of been pinned between these 3 cultists and this hovering magical weapon. One of the cultists has dropped their sword. The other 2 don't look so good.
I am going to non-lethally attack the cultist on my left, the one that has the spiritual weapon.
Okay.
Because I want him alive.
Sure.
So, glaive.
You
I'm gonna hit him with the flat part of my blade right at his head.
Yeah, you go to swing your glaive, and just at the last second you turn it to one side. The flat part of it just clangs him right in the side of the head, and he just crumples into a heap. His knees buckle, and he goes unconscious.
And then, is the spiritual weapon still there?
No, concentration.
Perfect. And then I look at the other one and say...
Or just, he's unconscious, so yeah, it's
Oh, okay.
he can't control it, you know?
Mm-hmm. And then I'll turn to the last one and say... Run!
He is considering it at this point.
Attack of opportunity.
And it is his turn. He says, the Lord of Murder always pays back in kind. This won't be the last you've seen of me or of the Lords of Murder. Run. Go ahead and take an opportunity. Yeah, go ahead and take an opportunity attack, yeah.
Oh, please, I hope I kill him. Yes!
Oh my shit.
Oh my god.
As he's like just at the end of your reach, about to start cackling into the mist, his vision goes blank, and he goes and meets his likely his own. He goes and meets Bhaal in hell. The other combatants are all now under the effects of a sleep spell. Oh, you know what?
Oh,
the mage is
still
still.
the one.
Yeah, the mage is still left. Yeah, the mage is still left.
It's still
Let's figure out what he does.
Murder me.
Tanawak, you're up.
He might just murder me.
Okay, I'm going to, let's see. I'm going to move there, and I'm going to use my last spell slot to Guiding Bolt her. Time to click on Guiding Bolt. 23, does that hit?
Yeah. 11 force, or 11 radiant damage as another bolt of your divine energy flows through you. They like raise their hands as they've got their own magic kind of conjured in, but it doesn't really matter. It just kind of like blasts through them, and they take the radiant damage. They're still standing, but much like the other one, he's starting to consider his options. He sees all the rest of his companions on the floor. They're kind of heavy, slow rise and fall of their bodies as they are in a deep slumber from Dolos's magic. This unconscious guy. Krayley, what would you like to do?
I guess I'm going to go ahead and move 10 feet. And then I'll just go ahead and attack this single awake.
Yeah, it's going to be a critical strike, so you can just roll. What are you using? Do you like take out a dagger or something?
No, I'm still going to stick to my longbow and use an arrow.
Oh, okay, so it'll just be a normal attack roll then.
Okay.
Is the +2 is from archery, right? So it's
Yes.
is it 13? That's a 13 attack roll of 13.
Wait, is he attacking her? The one that I hit with the Guiding Bolt?
No, this is sleep. This is sleep one.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Wait, isn't that still with advantage?
Which one? Which one? Which one are you attacking?
Sorry. I thought it was the kind of demon spellcaster.
Oh, I thought you said the one on the ground. My bad.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, 11, 12. So is your attack roll an 11 or a 13?
I believe it's a 13.
Okay, a 13.
Right.
He's going to have advantage because I hit her with.
No, you do have advantage. Yeah, you do have advantage. I just thought it was the one on the ground.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I will just roll again.
Yeah.
Roll. Okay. Much better.
Well, that really good.
Oh yeah.
There's kind of highlighted in some of the mist around them is still kind of got this faint glowing green, and you take a few steps towards them. You let another arrow loose, and as they're kind of like trying to keep their own magic together, ready to hurl at one of you, your arrow just hits them right below the chin and the throat. They kind of gurgle, and their arms fall to their side as the magic kind of dissipates, and they fall forward in the cold streets. And now everyone else is unconscious. Combat is over.
Coup de grace time.
Absolutely. So
Except for
first
this
one, first one is this one.
So yeah, do you kill all the other ones except the one you want to keep unconscious, or what do you do with the rest of them?
Is Lightheart around to stop us?
Nope. Not at the moment. You can make a perception check though.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. Make sure I don't want to disappoint the man. But also, the streets must be fed.
While he's doing that, I want to take the Pink's face mask off. Pink characters.
Yeah, you pull their mask off. What you see is kind of a human woman. You can tell that they have like been cutting their own hair with like a dagger, like just pulling strands and like shaving it off. Their hair is like this wild mess. They have much like the other guy, like instead of like a upside down kind of like cross, they have like a little skull carved into the side of their neck, some kind of like skull like symbol, with little dots around it, so there's like all these little points of blood dripping down the side of her body. Otherwise she's kind of just pale, and her eyes are closed. She's got these like thick bushy eyebrows, like she really hasn't been grooming herself. Doesn't smell very good. Bernard, you look around. The streets are still fairly heavy with mist and fog, but you kind of hear like a shutter open above you, and you kind of look up and you can see like people like peeking out the window down below. You look around at some of the other buildings, and you can kind of see people like staying kind of out of sight, but looking down at the streets at the fight that's just gone on. So they kind of, you get the impression that maybe some people have witnessed the battle, and people are kind of now watching that the fighting's died down a little bit. You can tell people might be watching from the windows of their homes or whatever buildings are around you, but you don't see Captain Lightheart anywhere.
So, it's more than enough for me.
Women can kill them with impunity.
Exactly. Green dot guy.
Yeah. You bring your glaive down kind of methodically on them. They don't make a sound as your blade cuts into them. You don't even have to roll damage or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good, because I don't think I would have killed him.
Well, it would have been double dice, it would have been double dice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And with that one,
Can I cood this?
This is the new law of the land.
Sure. You get the impression, probably from the way that, Lightheart has spoken about the city, that even if people saw you do this, nobody would think that you were wrong for doing so.
Ooh, I'm gonna talk crap to this guy, even though he's asleep.
Sure.
I'm about to slit his throat. I'm gonna tell him, sending a failure of a person to a failure of a god. When you see him, tell him that Bhaal sounds like a stupid name for a god.
Mm.
And then I kill him.
Nice.
And then,
Oh, go ahead.
I walk over to the two guys that tried to kill me, and I just loot them both. Not the other guys, just the ones who tried to wrong me.
Nice. Make an investigation check.
Okay.
The first guy you don't find too much. Their sword is nice. Like, it looks like it's well made.
I take it.
And you find like 3 copper pieces in their pocket.
Okay.
But you can make one for the other guy.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
You find kind of a scrap of paper crumpled up in this person's pocket. It looks like it has like a number on it. It has like the number 21 on it. That looks like it's like written in nice, neat penmanship. It's like a little triangular slip of parchment, and you turn it over, and on the back side there's like a little stamped image of like a big like sauna. It's like a big tub with little steam coming out of it.
Okay.
You also find that this cultist was more responsible with their cult wages, and they have like 2 gold coins on them.
Okay. Do I know what the like piece of paper kind of is for?
Yeah, I would say give me like a I would say just an intelligence check, just a flat intelligence roll.
Oh, I'm good at that. Okay.
Oh, I'm good at that.
This is like knowledge more than this is like current knowledge more than like history. You don't recognize like the you don't recognize like what it would be from. The only thing you can really think of is that that there are like plenty of bathhouses and things like that throughout the city, that private and public, where people would go to like clean themselves. Some of the nicer ones might sometimes have like some kind of system where you can check in your belongings.
Okay.
And this particular cultist does smell better than the rest of them.
Well, at least
Anyone else?
Yeah, while all this is going on, if Delos could just sneak down over to this other guy. I don't know if I can like tie him up or like restrain him. I don't have any rope on me. I don't know if there's any way I can feasibly do that.
Yeah, I would say that the only thing you might have on you since you left in such a hurry is that perhaps you have some sort of sash around your waist that hold your robes together.
Okay. Yeah, just like it wouldn't just like yeah, if I could use that.
Sure.
I don't expect it to be that well, but just like
Yeah.
restrain him.
Why don't
and
you
just-
make a sleight of hand check to
Wonderful.
see
Okay.
how well you bind them?
Yeah, I am trying to do this like sneaky. I'm not trying to like get any attention. I don't really want that on me.
They're kind of face down. You place their hands kind of gently as to like not wake them on behind their back. You kind of do a few wraps around, and then you pull a tight knot, and they kind of like groan. There's like this brief moment where you think they're gonna wake up, but then like they like let out a like loud snore through their nostrils.
Wonderful.
There is after you. Does anyone else like? Well, you poke through a few of their pockets. Bernard and Tanawak, you guys kind of put a couple of them out of their misery. The final one.
That reminds me, I want to do a medicine check on him so he doesn't like die from a concussion or whatever, because we want to interrogate him.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
Man,
You can feel
He's
like
stable.
much like the knot on your head, a large knot is forming on the side of this guy's head, and then this conflict is over. You guys have one of these cultists who's now unconscious. I imagine you guys maybe drag him back towards the barracks.
Yeah.
And then I think a few people kind of like poke their heads out of their home. Somebody like comes out right in front of you here actually, and they like put their hand on your shoulder. They say, "Thank you." And then they like run across to this like dead body over here, and they like throw themselves down on them, and you hear them like start to like cry, you know. A couple other people come out from around out into the streets, and they begin to like gather some of the bodies, and I think that's where we'll end the session this week.
But before we end, since I am technically a priest, can I perform some posthumous last rites, even though they don't believe in any of the gods that I believe in?
Sure.
Since I'm technically a priest, it's not a great sentence.
Yeah.
I got a degree online. 2 hours.
As you're performing some of the rites of your people, Tanwak, you guys defeat your first conflict in the city of Boulder's Gate as new indoctrinees of either members of the New Order of Flaming Fist or allies of the New Order of the Flaming Fist. You expect, hopefully, that Captain Lightheart will soon return, but for the time being, you have done on your own your first act as new members of the Fist, and putting down a small pocket of cultists devoted to Bhaal, the Lord of Murder, of which have, so you've heard, been making open, brazen attacks, killing people in full light of day in the city. And you have just thwarted one of these attacks. Who knows, if you had not been here in the barracks, how bloody it could have gotten. You still see this other robed figure who has clearly helped you in the fight, still lingering around in the mist. But before you have a chance to speak to them, everything goes dark, and that's where we will end the session this week and pick up next week.
Okay.
Well done.
Okay.
I think we're going to be doing, milestone leveling for the most part for this campaign.
Yeah.
So I think, just so you guys, I at least give you guys some idea of the leveling process. Next week, just so you have something to think about, Captain Lightheart will eventually return, and he will have some, missions that you can choose from for Flaming Fist duty. And then after you complete your first mission for the Fist, I think you guys will attain level 3. So, probably after next week, you guys will get to level up. Otherwise, well done. You survived your first combat encounter. That was the first time I've ever actually seen somebody effectively use the sleep spell.
Yeah. That well.
It makes me so happy to know somebody can do that.
So nice job there, and I'll catch you. If you guys don't currently have an inspiration, why don't you go ahead and mark inspiration, and I will catch you all next week.
I forgot that I had one from last week.
And I'll catch you all next week for another session. Otherwise, well done.
Don't forget to read the thing I sent you.